And you're live.
Hey, welcome back to Judicial Dollars and Cents, coming to you live from the PILMMA Super Summit in San Antonio, Texas. Right now, my guest is Amer from HTY Law in Detroit.
Yep. It's pronounced Amer, John.
Amer. I'm sorry. I wrote that down. I didn't get it
okay.
right. I apologize. Hey, tell me about your firm in Detroit.
Oh, wow. My firm in Detroit. Well, we're actually in the suburb of Detroit. We're 10 attorneys now, probably 20 support staff. We're a strictly PI attorney. I started the law firm. I'm the founder in 2003, and we we represent injured people. I mean, it's cliche, but we're one of the best, and I make sure we try to be the best. When you put the people first, John, when you put the clients first, everything else
falls in line. Yep.
Because you do a good job. And I have a few other businesses, John, and when I get in a crowded space, this is a crowded space, I have to look for that differential factor. And I found my differential factor in HTY Law, and that's just being the best. That's the different. As easy as that sounds, when you wake up every day, how are you going to be the best? That's what you think about. Our brand is a lion, king of the jungle, king of the courtroom. We try to run fast, hit hard. So that's who we are in Detroit.
That's awesome. It sounds like you got a great brand and you're a growing firm in the Detroit area.
Yeah.
How do you approach case management? What case management system do you use?
It's a great question. What case management looks like today wasn't the same case management as we had 12 months ago. One of the things that we do, we try to get the new technologies. We try to get a whole, not just one or two systems. We have a tech stack.
Right.
So we use a few things to integrate. We actually paid to build out our own intake department. We have our CRMs. We have a whole bunch of tools that we use. It's just not one tool. And the way it moves so quick, you don't want to be tagged down to one. You want what the best is for the client. So there's plenty of them. I'd rather.
Everything is ever changing, especially with AI.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm glad you're embracing that, because the old ways aren't going to work going forward. And you have to embrace technology, create some processes and efficiencies.
Right. And the technology is not replacing lawyers, or it's not replacing human beings. It's giving us faster, quicker, real-time data that we can use, that we can implement. Okay. A lot of people think, well, what's going to happen to lawyers 20, 30. I have 3 sons. They all want to be attorneys. There'll be jobs for them, but they're going to process the information a lot quicker. They're going to have to learn to take that information, scrub through that information, and really make sure that's information that's going to help the client and have that case done quicker, faster, but hit harder.
And you're so right. It's going to push us to do higher level work.
The productivity, the human beings, the human touch factor on the chain, more human touch factor where you can call the client, where you can ask them, John, how are you doing? Tell me the story so we can tell that to the jury. Before, we'd have to go through 100 cases. We'd have to read everything, this and that. Now we can only have 3 or 4 or 5 cases that we actually read, that we actually look at, make sure there's no hallucinations, make sure the medical chronology matches the actual medical records. And that way it gives us the bigger touch points where it's most important. That's the client. What's most important is the client. You get that down, John, you do a great job. That's the best advertising. I don't care what anybody here sells you. You do that, that's your differential factor.
Totally agree, because they're going to be raving fans and they're going to recommend your firm to their friends who
yes.
are in it.
We don't have clients, we have fans. From the time they call, from the time we hand the check, I'm making fans, not clients. They're the best advertising, folks. I went to a seminar one time and a guy, Savannah Bananas. Ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
The CEO guy walked in, had a yellow suit, and he said when he took over that company, the first thing he did when he answered the phone, the on-hold music was boring. He changed that. When he walked into that parking lot, He looked at it, he changed it. He says, I'm turning them from customers to fans. That's stuck with me. And I want every client to be a fan. And how do you become a fan? You win.
And he's clearly done a great job at that because they
Oh,
sell out
absolutely.
wherever they go.
Absolutely. So that's what you're going to do. All these gimmicks. I used to think that a brand, what's your brand? Oh, it's the lion. That's the logo.
Yep.
The lion is the logo. The brand is us. We are the brand. Brand management.
If you build a culture where all your staff believe in the brand and live the brand, then you've been successful.
Absolutely. And we teach that culture. Culture used to be, what's your culture? Oh, it's a great place to work. We get free coffee. We get this. That's great. But that's not culture. Culture is accountability. Culture is doing what the brand says. That's the culture. Using the tools, the technologies. That's what culture is. It's not great. Google, we get to play ping pong. That's a great culture. Sure. That's a great atmosphere. Culture, people get it confused. Our culture at our firm is accountability, doing the right thing for the client. Staying that extra hour to 6 o'clock, not because I want you to stay an extra hour, because the other guy went home. The other guy went home.
I got to tell you, this is very refreshing because all attorneys are good, and I'm sure you're a great attorney, but you, sir, are an entrepreneur, and you get it. I could plug you into any business, and you're going to be successful. And I know you have some other businesses. You also have a podcast. Can you tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, the podcast. I ain't lying. All right. It's when we moved to our new space, we don't have the big budget gorillas that we have in our market. So how do I express my voice? How do I express my vision? How do I get that culture and that message out? And it's I Ain't Lying podcast. So believe it or not, I think we've done one that's related to the law. All the other stuff is what people want to know about. People want to know about other people. People want to be around successful people. Okay. The hardest thing about anything is how do you start? That is the biggest barrier to anything. So I can tell you about the multi-million-dollar lawsuits that we've won, and we've won them. But that's that's what everybody else is doing.
Right.
I am in the people business. So, I'm glad you said that. I'm in the hamburger business, not literally, but I am in the hamburger. Well, what do you mean, Amer? You practice law? Yeah, but I want to make the best hamburger out there. I want to make the best hamburger out there. John, there's something in business I call the short dollar and the long dollar. Anybody can make that short dollar.
Right.
Anybody could be on a podcast, build a podcast. I'm about the long dollar. That's what I'm about. And when you take care of the client and you make sure they're good, even when they get the money, make sure that they're not going to, waste it on a brand new car. So we're still in tune. I get people that call me that have my cell phone number. Well, I helped 15 years ago. They become friends. And why? Because we connected. It was a different level. And, we've helped families. We've helped generations. A lot of people that use us, they're not the best socioeconomic position as maybe you are, maybe I am. And that's because they've never had an opportunity to get out of that cycle. My own story is the story of an immigrant born in another country, coming here, dirt poor, not speaking the language. I was 4 years old. We grew up in the city of Detroit public school product. We'd open up the refrigerator. There's no food in the refrigerator. I grew up in the 80s in Detroit where gangs, drugs, AIDS, you're either going to go to jail, you're going to go die, or you're going to go to school.
So who influenced you to get your education?
My parents.
Okay.
That was a non-negotiable. We're going to go to school.
So you were first generation graduate?
No, I'm an immigrant. My kids are first generation.
Oh, good point.
I'm an immigrant. My kids are first generation. So a lot of people ask me, John, how did I become a lawyer? I was in 11th grade, and my social studies teacher. We had a mock trial, and she says, you should play the lawyer. And I forgot if I was defense or I was plaintiff, if I was whatever. So I played the lawyer. Then she came up to me in 11th grade and she says to me, you did a great job. You should be a lawyer. You know what my question to her was in the 11th grade?
What's that?
What is a lawyer? In the 11th grade.
Wow.
15, 16 years old. And she told me what a lawyer was. I said, okay. Didn't think nothing of it. My parents didn't speak English, didn't write. We would tell them what the report card was, but they told us you had to go to school.
Yeah.
But they didn't show us the roadmap. Like my kids now, two are in college, they want to be lawyers. My other kids graduating middle school and high school, they know what that is. We preach education. And then the 12th grade comes, John, and my guidance counselor comes and says, well, what are you going to do? I said, what do you mean? I'm going to go work, right? Graduate. She said, no, you should go to college. You have pretty good grades. I said, what's college?
Wow.
She said, yeah.
You climbed a mountain here.
Well, listen. She said, you should go to college. I said, where's that at? She said, go to Wayne State. Your family, you'll get Pell Grants. They'll pay for it. I said, okay. And she said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, the lady last year told me I should be a lawyer. She said, okay, go be a lawyer. It's June 1993. I went home and I told my mom I'm going to go to college. She's like, yes, education. To them, they didn't know if education was high school. They just said education.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to go to college. She said, okay. I said, yeah, they told me it's in Detroit, Wayne State, and I get to go. We don't have to pay and fill out this form. So I go to college and I'm in line in 93. You sign up and you pay. I don't know how old you are, but that's how. So I stood in line and the lady says to me, okay, it's my freshman year orientation. She says, what do you want to do? I said, I was told to go to school here. She said, I know, but what do you want to be? Here's that question again. I said, they told me I should be a lawyer. They're like, okay, but at that time we don't have pre-law. You should be a poli-sci major. All lawyers are poli-sci major. Okay, 4 years I graduated college. At that time I knew what a lawyer was. I worked at a law firm in 98. I went to law school, finished law school in 2 years. And that's my story. That's how it started. Somebody told me I should be a lawyer. I never looked back.
What a fantastic journey. And the higher power has a way, a path for you. And look out for it.
I agree. And the thing with that, now we're 10 attorneys. I want to get back. As a good corporate person, good individual, when you suck things out of things and it dies, you don't have a purpose, a meaning. Yes.
Delayed gratification and reinvestment in the community and in your firm.
Yes.
Let me ask you about your kids. So let's say 2, 3, all 3 of them become lawyers.
Yes.
Will you want them to go somewhere else first and get some training?
That's
straight
great.
Into the firm.
Well, my son, Colin, works for me. I've done okay in my life. Yeah. I make them all work in restaurants.
Oh, I love that.
I make them all work at restaurants. I make them wash dishes. I make them. They have a nice home life. Don't get me wrong. But
good work ethic is hard to find.
Good work ethic is hard to find. So Colin proved himself. He came in the firm. He's doing great. My middle son, who's a jock, played football, had college football. Not great, but Division III schools, and he wants to be a lawyer, but he wants to do something else. I want my kids to be happy.
Yep.
I'm not raising lawyers. I'm not raising doctors. I'm not raising priests. I'm raising good men to get back to the world and society. They all happen to want to be lawyers. I want them to see other things, and I want them to make their own path. I made my path, but the number one thing is they have to be good men, and they have to be good citizens, and they have to be good Americans, and they have to help people that can't help themselves. Not to get into too much, but God has given them the ability to do that, and they have to cherish that, and they really have to give back. And that's how I feel about my clients. God has given me, and not to get too, the mind, the power to help.
I love the social justice that you're talking about, giving back, taking care of our community. That's fantastic. Before we move on to a different topic, I want to ask you something about Detroit. Football fan?
Huge.
I'm assuming Detroit Lions.
Huge.
Okay. What's the outlook this year for Detroit? Knowing that I'm a Kansas City fan, and in the opening game last year, you guys came into Kansas City.
2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
The rough years are.
You didn't have Jones though playing.
No.
He was on that contract year. Yeah.
The rough years are blending together for me right now, but I'm hopeful for next year. I've got season.
For your Chiefs?
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Hold on. Rough years? Plural? You've had one, bro. You've had one.
I know we're spoiled.
Okay. All right. Let's put some things in perspective. No one feels bad for you, John.
I do.
Oh God. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Finish your question.
So, if you had to pick the Super Bowl opponents for next year out of the AFC and NFC, who are you picking?
Hold on. You're making an assumption that the Lions are going to make the Super Bowl?
No, I'm asking you to
Okay.
pick.
Man, I tell you what. I'm a big Josh Allen guy,
You can't win the big game.
but he's one guy. Okay. Patrick Mahomes, right? Great, but he has a cast around him, right?
Right.
Look, there's the higher echelon of quarterbacks, and I think Josh Allen. I think the Buffalo Bills. I think they're just knocking. You know, I think Lamar Jackson's window. Great, I love Lamar Jackson.
It's starting to close.
I think these guys, their body, their wear and tear, right? But to answer your question, I think the Bills, AFC. I think the Bills.
I do think Josh Allen's a really good quarterback, and I'll tell you a story. I'm a Missouri Tiger fan, SEC, and 2 years we played Wyoming, and Josh was there. And I'm thinking Wyoming Cowboys. Okay, we're gonna roll this team. We beat him, but it was not because of Josh Allen.
Yeah,
he is a stud. I just think, I hope that we still own him and we can't get over that hump. But he's a good quarterback.
there might be a mental block. So you're a Missouri Tiger guy?
I am.
So there's the DB from Michigan that went to high school with my son that just transferred from Michigan to the Tigers. God, what's the kid's name? Great kid. He played high school football with my son. I forget his name, but look him up.
NIL has changed the
Oh, my
landscape.
God.
It's almost ruination. There's got to be some guardrails. I love the fact that they're getting paid, okay? But this free agency that we have has to slow down. We have to say, look, if you can get one chance to move, unless your coach leaves or gets fired, then you get a second chance. But we can't have teams that just are the roster turned over every year. Indiana won last year because they had a very mature roster, and for them, that was
And the head coach.
I'm not a big Cincinnati fan, but
You can't beat that track record, John. I'm
Google
a Michigan guy.
Just Google it. He wins.
He came from the Saban tree.
Yeah, but he was with Saban for a brief
Not
period
too
of
much,
time.
too
Yeah.
long. Listen, I think you just said the guy should get paid. The
Yeah.
schools are making money. But man, I'm a Michigan guy, right? Who won the national championship just now? Michigan, right? All 5 starters were transfer guys.
You can buy a win.
You can, and they still have to mesh. I mean, I think May, the head coach at Michigan, good job to Nettie, and yeah, you can have the lawyers in your law firm. If they don't mesh, and they don't, if you don't get them brought in to the culture, to what you're trying to do, if they think they're the best lawyer ever, and they lose sight, it's about them, not about clients. That's a problem. I tell my guys all the time, and my gals, they come in my office, they're frustrated. I said, I hear you, but it's not about you, it's about the client. It's not about you, it's about the client. You see these guys on TV, how great we are, how much we won. Look at us, look how good looking I am. I'm in the superstar thing. A lot of firms, it's about them, us, it's about the client. So that's how I feel.
It's a great redirection back to the purpose of what you're doing.
Honestly, in any business, right? I told me a little bit about yourself from, accounting background. It's about the client that you represent to make sure they can make sure his job ethically in the best fashion.
If you take care of the client, everything else is going to fall into place.
That's old school, John, but that'll never waver.
Right. And AI is not going to replace that.
AI won't
AI
replace
will
that.
help us create repeatable processes that can be done by a machine or AI so
Absolutely.
that we can do higher level service
Yes. Tell kids to go to law school
or accounting.
or accounting.
We need accountants too.
Get your MBA. Get your MBA. Yeah,
So
I agree.
you are a voracious reader, and last night a little fairy the book in your room.
Really?
It's called Judicial Dollars and
I
Cents.
started it, honestly.
I appreciate the fact that you started it. If you go on our website, there's a QR code that will take you to about a 10-minute maturity model assessment. And what it does is it helps you self-grade your finance function in your firm. How quickly are we reconciling accounts? How often are we looking at financial statements? There's 5 areas that it looks at. And if you get lower score, if you're realistic, and you have a couple areas that you need to work on, you can either do this on your own or someone like else to help you come in and get incrementally better in those areas over the next 6 to 12 months. And when you do that, then your firm becomes even more powerful, more marketable, more sustainable going forward.
So, to your point, and I know I talk a lot, to your point, my wife says to me, Amer, you're the dumbest guy, but you're the smartest guy I know. That's an oxymoron.
That's a left-handed compliment.
What does that mean? That means I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at, and I know to get people like you. She says you, and I asked her, I said, what does that mean? She says, Amer, you put good people around you. Never ever underestimate the people that you have around you. That's the only way you go up. You have children? God bless them. So I tell kids all the time, it's really not always about you. It's about the people you put around you. You're not a troublemaker, but that person you're hanging out with is a troublemaker. And that's the problem. So what you just said, people say, well, I know how to read a P&L. I know how to, I know not to leverage my money. I know not to pay 30% interest. I know what an ROI looks like. But if you're really serious about your business, a guy like you, a company like yours could be very invaluable. The money that they spend, it'll help you in the long run. So I agree. I agree with the philosophies. And I agree that, there needs to be professionals like yourself that are able. People a lot of times tell me, I don't need a lawyer. AI will answer my questions. Okay.
You asked me to give you this much of it.
You couldn't see me. Well, yeah, I agree.
If folks want to get a hold of you or your firm, how can they do that?
HakimLaw.com, HakimLaw.com. I have my own podcast. I Ain't Lying. It's on Apple. It's on.
Subscribing to.
Oh, you really are. You make me blush now.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And thank you all for joining us on this episode of Judicial Dollars and Cents. Until next time. Thanks for joining us on Judicial Dollars and Cents, presented by Anders Virtual CFO Services. If you found value in today's conversation, be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcast. To learn more about how Anders helps law firms strengthen their financial foundations and drive growth, visit anderscpa.com. Until next time, keep making smart decisions that make perfect sense.